Recording. Oh, all right. So, uh, now we can finally come to one of the main topics of the course, which is what are called geodesics, right? So we talked a bit about geodesics in the last class as curves of shortest length on a submanifold of Rn with the induced metric. And we saw that there were curves whose acceleration is perpendicular to the manifold, right? So for example, on the unit sphere S2, such curves were given by great circles, right? Great circles, the acceleration was proportional to the radial vector, and the radial vector is normal to the sphere, right? So these were examples of what we are going to call geodesics. So last time what we saw heuristically is that if I fix 2 points in a manifold in Rn, let's say a submanifold of Rn, and then I try to minimize the length of all curves in the manifold joining those 2 points, then if I have a curve which attains the minimum, then it has to satisfy a differential equation, right? A second order differential equation. That is, the acceleration is normal to the manifold. The tangential component of the acceleration is 0. And as we saw, the tangential component of the acceleration, that is the covariant derivative of the velocity vector, right? Yeah, we saw that the covariant derivative along a curve in a submanifold of Rn is just given by taking the usual derivative and then applying the tangential component, right? Yes?
Yes.
Right, that we talked about that last time. Yeah, for a submanifold of Rn, the covariant derivative along a curve is you just take the usual derivative and then apply the tangential component. You take the tangential component of the usual derivative. That gives you the covariant derivative along a curve. Okay.
In fact, the connection was also the taking connection and restricting it to the tangential component.
Right. It's the same formula. You just take the tangential component. Right. You take the derivatives in Rn and then just take the tangential component. That gives you the Levi-Civita connection. Because we check that it is metric compatible and it is symmetric. So for a submanifold of Rn, we have an explicit construction of the Levi-Civita connection. It's just the tangential component of the usual Euclidean connection, if you like. Okay. So up to here is all right. Okay. So now we're going to define what are called geodesics. Okay. So now for the rest of the course, the only connection we'll talk about is the Levi-Civita connection on a Riemannian manifold. Okay. We will always assume unless otherwise stated, our connection will be the Levi-Civita connection. So 1 second, let me. Yeah, so I have the hand. Okay, fine. So definition, a curve gamma, a smooth curve gamma in a Riemannian manifold M is a geodesic if the covariant derivative of gamma dot is 0. All right. So note that gamma dot, that is the tangent vector gamma prime t. This is a vector field along gamma, right? The tangent vector gives you a vector field along gamma. We want the tangent vector to be a parallel vector field along gamma. Okay. Is this clear? Yes. Is the definition all right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So this is motivated by the fact that we saw for a submanifold of Rn with the induced metric, a curve of shortest length, it must be a geodesic in this sense. That is, it satisfies this differential equation, right? But now we're going backwards. We're starting with the differential equation, and then we're going to show that under certain hypotheses, solutions to this differential equation will give us length minimizing curves. Okay, not actually globally, but as I was saying in the example of the sphere S2 last time, it will give us what are called locally length minimizing curves. All right. Okay. So we're going to take as our starting point this differential equation. ddt of gamma dot is 0. Okay. So gamma dot is a parallel vector field. And so therefore, if I have a geodesic gamma, then if I look at the norm squared of gamma dot, that means the speed squared, right? Then if I take ddt of this, then because the connection is metric compatible, ddt of inner product gamma dot, this will be 2 times capital ddt of gamma dot inner product gamma dot, and capital ddt of gamma dot is 0. So this will be 0. So that means ddt of gamma dot is 0. So in other words, the gamma dot inner product is constant. All right. So therefore, any geodesic automatically has constant speed. All right. Is this clear? Yes. Yes. Okay. So geodesics have constant speed. And now in coordinates, we can see what this geodesic equation looks like in coordinates. So let X be a coordinate system from an open set in the manifold to Rn. And so let's look at our curve gamma in coordinates. So X composed with gamma t, this will be a curve in Rn. So this will have coordinates which are functions of t, x1 of t up to xn of t. And let V be the vector field, which is gamma dot, right? So gamma dot, we've seen this before. I can write it as sum over I dxi dt del xi, right? Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Now I use the formula for the covariant derivative along a curve. So this formula, I'll just show you again. This formula dv dt is sum over k dvk dt plus sum over ij dxi dt gamma ijk vj into xk, where xk is del xk, right? So if I apply this formula, my vk is dxk dt, right? So when I take dv dt, I'll get d squared xk dt squared sum over k plus sum over ij dxi dt dxj dt. This is my vi vj, right? In this formula here, I have dxi dt into vj. So that one dxi dt will come from here, and vj will be dxj dt. All right. So I'll get a product dxi dt dxj dt. All right. So that's what I have here, dxi dt dxj dt. And then I have the Christoffel symbols gamma ijk, the whole thing into del xk. This sum over k is 0. So the del xk's are a basis. So this sum equal to 0 means that each coefficient inside is 0. So this gives me a system of second order differential equations. D squared xk dt squared plus sum over ij dxi dt dxj dt gamma ijk equal to 0. All right. So note that this is a nonlinear system of equations because I have this product of dxi dt and dxj dt. So it's not clear that solutions may exist for all time, all right? It's a nonlinear system of equations. So nonlinear equations, you have to be a bit careful. Solutions may not exist for all time, unlike linear equations. So parallel transport give you a linear equation, but the geodesic equation gives you a second order nonlinear equation, okay? A system of nonlinear equations. Is this clear? So, I mean, this covariant derivative d gamma dot dt, this is like the usual acceleration. It's d squared xk dt squared. This part is the usual acceleration, but then there's a correction term coming from the Christoffel symbols, all right? There's a correction term coming from the Christoffel symbols. So if you are in Rn all the Christoffel symbols vanish. So this second part becomes 0, and then you just get the usual equation for zero acceleration, d squared xk dt squared equal to 0. And the solutions are straight lines, right? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is, so geodesics are curves in the manifold, but if I look at the tangent vector of a geodesic, say gamma prime t, then I will get a curve in the tangent bundle, right? As t varies, gamma prime t gives me a family of tangent vectors. So that will give me a curve in the tangent bundle. And what I want to now do is look at this geodesic equation in the tangent bundle. And there what I will find, that's what we're going to do now, is there it will become a system of first order linear equations. No, not linear, a system of first order ODEs. So if you look in M, you get a second order system of ODEs. But if I pass to the tangent bundle, as we're going to do now, we'll get a first order system of ODEs. All right. So, so a first order system will correspond to a vector field on the tangent bundle. A vector field on the tangent bundle will generate a flow on the tangent bundle. And that will be what is called the geodesic flow. So it will be a flow on the tangent bundle. All right. So before proceeding further, let's note over here, since this is a second order system of equations, we need two initial conditions, right? You need the initial positions, that is x1 of 0 up to xn of 0. That's the initial position. And you also need the initial velocities, right? That means the vector x1 prime 0 up to xn prime 0, right? Then given these two initial conditions, then by the usual theory of ODEs, at least locally, you'll have a existence and uniqueness of a solution, right? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so you need two initial conditions. Initial position, that's a point in the manifold, and initial velocity, that's a tangent vector at that point. All right. So let's look at the tangent bundle now. So for convenience, I'm going to write points of the tangent bundle as pairs, okay? Q comma V, where Q is the foot of the tangent vector. So Q is a point in M and V is a vector in TQM, all right? So I'll write the elements of the tangent bundle for notational convenience as pairs Q comma V, all right? Okay. Now we know how to get coordinates on the tangent bundle. The tangent bundle is a manifold of dimension 2n, right? Twice the dimension of the manifold n. And we know that if I take a coordinate system, say x1 to xn for m, then we get coordinates on Tm, where my coordinate functions, I get n extra coordinates. So x1 to xn are my first n coordinates. And my second n coordinates are some y1 to yn. These are actually nothing but dxi's. These are the dxi's. So these y1 to yn are defined by requiring that for any v in TQN, v is equal to sum over I yi of qv del del xi. So in other words, yi is the coefficient of v with respect to the basis del del xi. Is this clear? So in other words, yi of qv will be nothing but dxi of v. It will be dxi of v. Is this clear? So we've seen that this x1 to xn together with y1 to yn, these give us coordinates on the tangent bundle, right? These give us coordinates on the tangent bundle. These are local coordinates on the tangent bundle. Okay. So now we have charts on Tm. So let's try and look at the following. So given a curve gamma in the manifold M, we get a curve in the tangent bundle, which is the curve T maps to the pair gamma T comma gamma prime T. Right? This gives me a curve in the tangent bundle. Yes? Okay. And so with respect to these coordinates x1 to xn, y1 to yn, this curve gamma T comma gamma prime T, this will have some coordinates which are functions of T, x1t up to xnt and y1t up to ynt, right? Where the x1t to xnt are the positions of the curve in Rn under the chart X, and yi's are what? They are the coefficients of del del xi's. So those we know were dxi dt, right? So therefore, these yi of t is nothing but dxi dt, right? Because gamma dot t is summation over I dxi dt del del xi. All right, so the yi of t is dxi dt. Okay, so therefore, in terms of these xi's of t and yi's of t, when is gamma a geodesic? Gamma is a geodesic if and only if this pair xt yt satisfies the system now of first order equations. So dxk dt is yk of t, and now this geodesic equation, this d squared xk dt squared, this becomes a first order derivative of yk, right? This becomes dyk dt, and this dxi dt dxj dt, this becomes yi yj, right? This becomes yi yj, and I take this to the other side. And so the equation I get is that dxk dt is equal to ykt, and dyk dt is equal to minus the sum over ij of gamma ijk yi of t yj of t. K goes from 1 to n. So I get a system of 2n first order equations. Is this clear? Yes?
Yes.
So this is something you might have seen in school probably, how to convert a second order equation into a system of first order equations, right? You take the first derivatives to be new variables, right? That's what we've done here. The yks are the first derivatives. These are our new variables. And now the second order equation becomes a first order equation, right? Is this clear? Any questions, anyone? Yes? Is this all right?
Yes.
Okay. So in other words, what does this mean? This means that my curve here, gamma t comma gamma prime t in the tangent bundle, it is an integral curve of the following vector field on this chart on TU, on the tangent bundle of U, where U is my open set in M. So the curve T goes to gamma T comma gamma prime T is an integral curve of the vector field. So let me call it G sub X and U, because a priori it depends on the choice of coordinate x, so this vector field is defined by g sub xu of q comma v is equal to sum over k yk del del xk plus sum over k open brackets minus sum over ij gamma k ij yi yj del del yk, right? Is this clear? So maybe I should just write it out for you. So here's the geodesic equation. So xy, these are natural coordinates on the tangent bundle of u, which is a subset of the tangent bundle of M, where u subset of M and x is a coordinate on u. Okay. Now, gamma, I look at T maps to gamma T comma gamma prime T. Okay. So if I look at x comma y applied to this tangent vector gamma T comma gamma prime T. So this is a tangent vector, this belongs to TU. Okay. So if I look at xy applied to this, then in coordinates, this becomes a collection, a vector of two n functions, x1t, xnt, y1t, ynt. Okay. And what do I know? I know that ddt of gamma t, gamma prime t. So this is going to be sum over I or sum over k. This is going to be sum over k dxk dt del del xk plus dyk dt del del yk, right? Yes. So where is this? What kind of object is this? This is an element of the tangent space at the pair gamma t comma gamma prime t to the manifold Tn. So this is an element of the double tangent bundle. Okay. So this is a subspace of TTM, the double tangent bundle. In other words, the tangent bundle of the tangent bundle. Does this make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Right. I mean, this is general for any manifold. If I have a curve in a manifold, and with respect to the coordinates, let's call the coordinates zi. If the coordinates are zi and the coordinate functions become z1 of t up to z some m of t, then gamma prime becomes sum over I dzi dt into del del zi, right? So here my zi's, there are two n zi's, x1 to xn and up and then y1 to yn, right? So these are coordinates. So my basis for the tangent space to the tangent bundle is spanned by del del xk and del del yk, right? It's a 2n dimensional vector space. So the basis is del del xk's and del del yk's, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm writing it in terms of this basis. And so this, if gamma is a geodesic, then I know what this is. If gamma is a geodesic, then my dxk dt, this anyways I know is going to be, because this curve is of the form gamma comma gamma prime. So this dxk dt will be just yk. So the first part will become sum over k, yk del del xk. Okay. Plus this dyk dt from the geodesic equation, this will become minus sum over ij yi yj gamma ijk and then del del yk. Is this clear? Yes.
With this minus sign, can you explain again, please?
Sorry.
Oh, this minus sign is actually coming from the geodesic equation, is it?
Right. So this I've written in brackets. If gamma is a geodesic, then this is true, right? This dyk dt becomes minus sum over ij yi yj gamma ijk, right? Is this okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes, any question, Bappa?
No, you asked if this is okay. I said yes.
So this thing itself, this I can think of as a vector field on the tangent bundle, right? So this I can write as some g sub x u to indicate the dependence on the coordinate x of gamma t comma gamma prime t. Is this clear? Where g goes from the tangent bundle of u to the tangent bundle to the tangent bundle of u. This is a vector field on tu. Is this clear? Okay. So what we get is that if I look at so this curve gamma comma gamma prime, this is called the lift. This is the lift of the curve gamma to the tangent bundle. All right. This is the lift of gamma to the tangent bundle. So the lift to the tangent bundle, if gamma is a geodesic, then this lift is this is an integral curve of a vector field on the tangent bundle. Is this clear? Yes? Okay, so what we get is that, so gamma is a geodesic if and only if the curve T maps to gamma T, gamma prime T. So this is a curve in the tangent bundle. This is an integral curve of the vector field GXU on TU. Is this clear? Yes? Okay. Is this all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is fine.
So now what we want to show, so this vector field in terms of the coordinates xk and yk on the tangent bundle, this vector field is this linear combination of del del xk's and del del yk's. So a priori, it looks like it depends on the chart, right? The YKs were defined in terms of the XKs. And so the whole thing looks like it depends on XKs, right? So that's why I've put a G sub X comma U to indicate the dependence on this coordinate X. But now we want to show that actually it doesn't depend on the XKs. This is an intrinsically defined vector field on the tangent bundle, which will be called the geodesic vector field. Okay. So let's just do that. So here's the lemma. It says that, so this is your formula for the geodesic, for this vector field. This a priori depends on the coordinate X, but now we have the following lemma. If X and Z are two coordinates on U, then GXU is equal to GZU. So these two apparently different vector fields are the same, okay? And therefore we get, by patching together, that there is a vector field G on TM such that gamma curve in M is a geodesic if and only if the lifted curve T goes to gamma T comma gamma prime T is an integral curve of the vector field G on TM. And all integral curves of G are of this form, gamma T comma gamma prime T, where gamma is a geodesic. Okay. So let's prove this quickly and then we'll stop. So let Q be a point in U in our chart, and let V be a tangent vector at Q, and let alpha from an interval I into TU be an integral curve of the vector field GXU such that alpha 0 is equal to the tangent vector Q comma V. Okay. So then we know that alpha T will be of the form gamma T comma gamma prime T, where gamma is a geodesic, right? Is that clear? That's because so if alpha T integral curve of GXU, okay. So let's say alpha T is some gamma T comma VT. Okay, so V is the foot of alpha. gamma is the foot of alpha, and Vt is an element of the tangent space at gamma t. I want to say that Vt is equal to gamma prime t. Okay. And that is forced by alpha being an integral curve of G, because if I look at my coordinates, let's say xy composed with alpha, this is equal to, say, x1 t xn t y1 t yn t, where what are yn t to yn, y1 t to yn t? These are the coefficients of Vt with respect to the basis del del x1 to del del xk, right? So Vt is equal to summation over k ykt del del xk. All right. Yes, this is how the yi's are defined. They're the coefficients with respect to the basis del del xk. And so alpha integral curve of G implies that the system of first order equations holds here. So in particular, it implies that dxk dt is equal to yk of t, and dyk dt is equal to minus sum over ij yi yj gamma, oh sorry, gamma ijk. Yeah, okay. So the first equations tell me that yk is dxk dt. So that means that Vt is equal to summation dxk dt del del xk. And this is nothing but gamma prime t. Okay, so therefore Vt is equal to gamma prime t. And the second equation tells me that gamma is a geodesic. All right. Is this clear? Yes. So therefore, alpha is of the form gamma comma gamma prime, where gamma is a geodesic. But then we know that if alpha is of the form gamma gamma prime, where gamma is a geodesic, then alpha is also an integral curve of the vector field gzu with respect to the coordinate z. And therefore, we look at time 0, then we get that gxu of qv, this is alpha dot 0, and this is also gzu of qv. And therefore, gxu is equal to gzu. All right, so that finishes the proof. Okay, so we're out of time, so I'll stop here. Is this all right?
Yes.
Yes?
Sir.
Okay, all right. So I'll see you on Thursday. Okay.